I want to do a video about something that I saw on Vice Media that kind of made me think for a second. Okay, so I used to live in a small town. I'm a country boy, but I like the city. I enjoyed living in the country. It was nice. There's not too much employment down there though, so your aspirations are they're not really that good. That's why people leave the rural area for the city. Thing is that these rural people are becoming the biggest crybabies ever because I think what it is, they regret their life's choices and they realize that there's a lot of poverty in rural areas. That's why a lot of people leave a rural area, go to the city. They're talking about how they're not being heard and something about voting, but they don't say nothing when voter suppression becomes the issue. That's something to talk about, but that's not why I made this video. I'm going to let them speak for themselves, and then I'm going to pause it in a couple of sections just to add an additional comment.
Thanks for taking us out here.
I told you it was a ways out, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Josh.
I'm Doc Dow.
Some of Greater Idaho's biggest supporters are ranchers like Doc Dow and his crew.
We've got a total of 32,000 deeded acres in Oregon, and we're being dictated to by people who know nothing about ranch, by people who have no idea how we make a living. A lot of those people think that a T-bone steak comes from Costco.
Okay, so on that part, I found that kind of striking because if I remember correctly, there's a lot of farmers markets, and I worked in those areas. There's a lot of farmers markets. The farmer comes from the rural area, brings it to the city because the city folks are want to buy fresh vegetables and fresh meats and stuff like that. So why the fuck are you bringing your shit to the city if that's how you feel about us? Why don't you sell them down in the rural area? It's like selling T-shirts to a town full of everybody that sells T-shirts. Just stop bullshitting yourselves.
How popular would you say this
Everybody
movement
in this
is?
valley through here, every rancher through here, they're all for it.
Really?
They're all for it.
Oh, you got a brochure now.
Yeah, I've got a brochure.
Yeah.
Look at the inside.
No overall taxes, less regulation and interference, less unemployment and cost of living. No arsonists or rioters set free. That one seems like a new one, a new addition to the American values. I see men and girls sports leagues is on here.
Yeah.
Some of this just feels like almost an emotional response, a feeling of frustration.
Well, it really is that too. Every day we get up, we gotta.
Okay, let's go there before that guy tries to get away from that. I like how he says feelings. Somehow, something about the Trump supporter and fuck your feelings. Yeah.
Challenge. Something breaks, cow, there's something like that. So we got enough responsibility. Then you got the government coming in and trying to take our freedoms away. You know, our Second Amendment right, and then our First Amendment right. Unless you're a libtard or a Democrat, our state doesn't matter.
Do you think that rural America and urban America are essentially two different Americas?
Actually, I do.
Two different Americas.
Yeah. Good America and bad America.
All right, so good America, when you need to fucking sell your shit, sell it to your fucking self, because you don't need to bring it to the city. There's plenty of people out there who probably don't feel the way you do. Or I got a better idea. Why don't you just let China buy your land and throw you the fuck off of it? Everybody hates Gates, but Gates is buying land so the Chinese don't buy it. You stupid motherfuckers don't know shit about that. I mean, I think you do, but you're just stupid motherfuckers.
For as certain as supporters feel about the plan, it's almost definitely not going to happen. It would first have to be approved by the legislatures of all of the states involved and the federal government. It would also need the support of the majority of residents in those states. So far, the 7 counties in Oregon that voted in favor of it amount to less than 3% of the population.
This is the proposed border along the main Deschutes River. The other side would be Idaho, and this side would stay Oregon.
Do you think what's happening here in Oregon is representative of broader issues across the country?
I honestly think so. You look at the last 2 presidential maps, and you see massive red but then you see the blue pockets around, and those blue pockets are the ones that do the voting.
We're talking about a series of policy differences, but in a way, what you're describing is a cultural gap between
It is.
rural Oregon and urban Oregon.
The values are not the same.
Does that mean that the two can't coexist?
They have coexisted for over 200 years.
Are they now?
That gap between the two is widening. And let's go back to the Civil War.
Let's go back to something before we get to the Civil War. There's a lot of people in urban areas that are staying in the streets. You know why? Because the wealth is going up and it's not coming down. And whose fault is that? These rural motherfuckers who don't fucking know shit keep on putting rich people in. And you know what they do? Is they fuck everybody over and they put everybody in the streets.
That's a values type situation that took on there.
Do you see parallels between that
I
time
do,
and this one?
I do, but I want to keep it away from the violent side. Can't we just exist together?
Okay, Bucko Jimm, you want to keep it away from the violent side, but you got a gun on your hip. The fuck is that?
As humans?
Says the guy whose solution is for rural Oregon to be cleaved off and join a more rural state.
Again, it's nothing more than moving. I think if you don't value our input, you don't value our concerns, then let us go.
Now, I like that part. If you don't value our ideals or our concerns, let us go. A lot of people have been saying that. A lot of the urban people have been saying that we're not being represented by our government. We're not being treated fairly by our government. But then when we say it, it's a whole different thing. Sounds to me like some people need to pull their fucking head out of their asses.